وقالوا لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل ما كنا في أصحاب السعير.
And they will say, if only we had been listening or reasoning, we would not be among the companions of the blaze.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقالوا لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل. And they said, only if we were to listen or use our intellect or ponder. One of the important things that we need to note here is Waqaloo, they said. And the conversation is being stated as if it already happened. They already said, which goes to show the certainty of this happening. So there is no question, we don't know if we're going to be raised, what will happen after we die. These are the conversations that are being told to us by one God, our Creator, and it's crystal clear. The future is being stated as past to show the surety of it. And then second thing is لو كنا نسمع, only if we were to who listen, who hear, or who listen to, or who heard. The two faculties nasmaAAu أو نعقل, using your intellect or listening to it. And between these two, the word comes أو, which means or. According to ulama, there should be, or language wise, it could be nasmaAAu أو نعقل. We heard, or we hear, or we listened, or and followed it and understood it. But this says أو, which means or. That means they're two independent actions. How come? So in one case, from one of the scholars, your heart is just ready to accept the truth. You just don't know where and what. And the moment you hear it, the moment you get it, the moment you read it, you just grab it right there and then. It's like crystal clear glass. The moment light hits, it shines. But then for some people, they have to do sama'. Faith comes from hearing over and over. And if we find ourselves in a state where we are confused and in doubt and we don't know where we stand in terms of our iman and taqwa, and what should we do? Nasma', hear and listen over and over. Maybe recitation of the Quran, tafsir of the Quran, lecture of the Quran, and eventually the dust will be removed, inshallah, and then things will be clear. These are the two things. They never said, oh, we never did any action, or we never did this or that. In this particular ayah, at least, nasma' awnaAAqilu. For us, the lesson is that we must use our faculties, and we will be questioned. The heart, which is understanding, the place of understanding things, and our mind, and then nasma', hearing. These are the two things that we must work on if they're not used the way they should be used. And also, I think, goes to show all other faculties and abilities we have, if we are not continuously using them the way they should be used, they might harm us. It might harm us at the end of the day, because these are the only two things that assaAAeer said we would, if we would had done these two, we would not end up here. May Allah save us from the blazing fire and save us from being those people who have been given extremely sophisticated faculties and then don't use it for who gave us. Ameen.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقالوا لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل ما كنا في أصحاب السعير. And Allah Ta'ala tells us the level of remorse that these people will feel. They will say, and the tense used is past, meaning it's sure that they will regret and say. And even though this will be something that will be happening in the future, but it is so confirmed that these things will surely, definitely happen. There are no doubts about it, that Allah Ta'ala has used the past tense. And it is said, they will say, if only we would have listened or thought about it today, we would not have been amongst these people of blazing fire. The language used over here is nasmaAAu awnaAAqilu. Aql in Arabic means to tie, to restrain or restrict something. Iqal is the rope with which you tie a camel. So our intellect is supposed to restrict or restrain us. If we look today, they say if you use your mind, you live like, a wild person. Do whatever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want. So if you use your brain and if you think, you are just free. And there is this thing of, like freedom and do anything and everything you want. And this is totally opposite of what our intellect was supposed to be doing. Our intellect was supposed to tie us down and restrict us, keep us within bounds and limits. Coming back to the ayah, if we would have listened or thought and lived with it. Now, aw means or. And over here, Allah Ta'ala tells us that a person identifies only two paths of identifying the truth. One is listen and the other is to think. And it is said that it is, if we don't know anything and we cannot think about anything else, just listen. And it is said by our Akabirin, that it is better to be simple, unlettered, who is faithful and devoted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, than to be a scholar who is not devoted or who has no place for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sami'na wa ata'na, we listen and we obey. And nasma'u is just listening. And naqilu is just thinking. Think for yourself. And as we remember, in the beginning, we had talked about how this surah talks about, reflection, that we should just stop for a while and think for ourselves. And these two ways that will surely take us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Coming back to the ayah, ma kunna fi assaAAeer. That is, fi is used over here. And it means in, meaning among. So these people will not only be with the people of fire, but it is said that they will be in the company of these wretched people. The worst of the company, the miserable, horrible company that they will be in. And over here, they will be having pity on themselves for the choices they made.
La ilaha